Welcome back everybody to another episode of Gay Let's Play Mass Effect. We pretty much finished, I guess, the main prologue-ish, kind of, extended prologue if you include all the stuff at the Citadel, all up to culminating to Clive Shepard becoming the first human Spectre. And now that we got ourselves back onto the Normandy, it's time for us to go chat up with our crew, starting with our beloved, or at least my beloved, but a lot of people's beloved, Joker, also voiced by the lovely man Seth Green himself, who of course is a ginger or slash redhead, semi-redhead.
Commander, something you need?
I just want to talk, Joker.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
I didn't mean to insult you, Joker.
I'm sorry, Joker. I didn't even know you were sick.
You mean you didn't know? Oh, crap.
No.
Okay, I've got Wrex syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
This is why BioWare is so good at making characters, because they don't just stick you with an awesome pilot. They stick you with an awesome pilot that has, like, these other dimensions to his character, So I love the fact that they gave Joker this disease, Wrex disease, that a lot of people in real life aren't even aware of, because that disease actually does exist. And it's just really cool to A, give that awareness, and B, just kind of show, it gives you much more respect for Joker, that, despite some of the hardships that he's had since the day he was born, he was still able to he was able to accomplish and succeed in so many things, which for people, I think, who are born with certain conditions or certain diseases, that's gotta be incredibly inspiring and uplifting. Tell me about your disease a little bit more then, Joker.
I need to know more about this Wrex syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures, hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
You're not gonna break a bone trying to fly the ship, are you?
I don't fly with my feet, Commander, so I'm fine as long as I'm in this chair. I gotta be real careful when I get up to take a piss, though. I can do my job as well as anyone on the ship. Better, actually. So don't worry about it.
Okay, Joker, you've obviously been doing this for a very long time, so Clive is like, alright, we talked about it, I asked questions not to insult him, just to fully understand the condition, because he wasn't aware of this, as he said. And, I'm gonna drop it, and we don't have to talk about it ever again.
I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. Let's talk about something else.
Whatever you want, Commander.
How'd you get your nickname, Joker?
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
Yeah, right.
I was just thinking how much you remind me of Santa Claus.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Never smiling? Oh, Joker! Oh, I want to give this guy a hug! Joker! Oh. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your personal history, if you don't mind, Jeff.
How'd you end up joining the Alliance?
Look, if you're looking for an inspirational tale of the crippled kid overcoming impossible odds, you're gonna be disappointed. My mother was a civilian contractor working for the Alliance. I basically grew up on the Arcturus station back when they were building up the fleets. Spend all that time around Alliance ships, there's a good chance you'll end up going to the Academy.
That makes sense.
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet, if you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
I love how confident Joker is, and I think for many people at face value, he can definitely come off as arrogant or full of himself. But I think that he kind of, growing up, I think he had to be very confident in himself, because otherwise, I don't know if the opposite. It just seems like he needed to believe himself, and he needed to be confident in himself and in his skills, and just see himself as being as successful as he is, because that probably helped motivate him through life, through becoming a pilot and becoming the great pilot that he is. So I think that, again, yes, he could, now that he's finally reached the success and that he's achieved the things he's achieved, it wouldn't hurt for him to be a little bit more humble. But at the same time, I think I kind of understand why his attitude is the way it is. And to be quite honest, even though he says a lot of these things, he kind of shares his accolades with confidence. I mean, we asked him about his credentials. So, it's just like if you're in a job interview. In a job interview, you can't be too modest. Like, there has to be a certain point when you're interviewing for a job that you kind of have to sell yourself. You kind of have to tell your, prospective boss why you're so valuable or why you're so skilled. And yeah, that means that you might have to, that's a part of the interviews that I hate doing, is because I don't always like to talk about myself in a way that can be interpreted as being arrogant, or in terms of, being, talking to myself as if I'm all that in a bag of chips. But that's what you do in a job interview. You kind of, that's just part of the whole system. The whole point is that you're selling the best parts of yourself. And so I think that's what Joker is doing here. I don't think that he's doing it in a way that's meant to be, he's not being a total jerk face. He's just trying to express to the commander, look, I know I have this disease, but I'm telling you, I'm good at what I do. You don't have to worry. And I think that's great.
I have to go.
All right, see ya.
All right, Joker. We'll talk again, Joker. Joker is easily one of my favorite characters in the game. I just want to hug that man so much. Navigator Presley.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
Excuse me? They're on our side, they're on our side, Presley.
We're all on the same team here, Presley.
With all due respect, and that's what they said about Nihilus. Look how that turned out.
Okay, but you can't put all Turians in a box. You can't paint, a specific race with the same brush.
I'm in charge here, Presley. I decide if we have non-humans on this vessel.
Yes, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
Well, yes, humanity's always solved their own problems, but humanity's world has become a whole lot larger, like galaxy-wide larger. Never turn away help. It's not just our problem.
Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. That's just being stupid and stubborn. No matter how strong you are, allies can make you stronger.
Exactly. That is Clive's mantra.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. But don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
Well, I'm glad that you're honest with me about that. A lot of people, feel that a lot of people find that Navigator Presley rubs them the wrong way because he is, you can call it racist, You know, he's not trustful of other races, and he thinks that humans should take care of human problems. But I think that it shows that Navigator Presley is professional enough such that even if he is racist, I believe that he's professional enough to not let that interfere, get in the way, affect how he does his job. So, you know, it's not as bad, I guess, as it could be, because that's hard to do. You know, I have to give credit where credit is due. Mad props to being able to, you know, not let your feelings or your personal anxieties about certain things get in the way of doing your job and doing your job properly and efficiently.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following in my grandfather's footsteps, I guess. My first posting was on the Agincourt. We were at Elysium during the Skillian Blitz. A massive fleet of alien raiders hit the colony, trying to wipe it out. They had the numbers, but their ships were no match for an Alliance frigate. It was a slaughter. We couldn't even keep track of how many ships they lost.
How'd you end up on the Normandy?
I got my officer's commission after Elysium. Must have made an impression on the right people. Captain asked for me when he was picking his crew.
Gotcha. All right, thanks, Presley.
Carry on, Presley.
+2 Paragon and +2 Renegade. Yep. Galaxy map. We will take care of the galaxy map in a moment. Not quite yet. Oh, this takes us to the stairs. I don't know if I want to go to the stairs just yet. Well... Yeah, we'll go to the stairs then. That's the... Oh, nobody here is at the... FTL comlink. Faster than light communications. I'll read about that in the next Codex video. For right now, we're gonna go down a level below. Let's go all the way down. We'll come back up here later. I want to go all the way down first as we continue conversing with people.
Looking for supplies?
I want to see if my licenses helped out a little bit. Oh, is there new items?
How often will you get new items?
What? And then check back often.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
Okay. I'm assuming that the new licenses that I got on the Citadel are being applied to this guy. So, wow, I already have 5,000 something credits. Oh, Garrus. Hi, Garrus.
Thanks for bringing me on board, Commander.
You're welcome, Garrus.
I knew working with a Spectre would be better than life at C-Sec.
Have you worked with a Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At C-Sec, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
For the most part, the rules are there for a reason.
Maybe. But sometimes it feels like the rules are only there to stop me from doing my work.
That's true.
If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it.
Well...
But C-Sec wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
I see.
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. C-Sec's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
Yeah.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside C-Sec. Either way, I plan to make the most of this.
Well, good, Garrus.
And without C-Sec headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
Alright, well that sounds good to me, Garrus. I'm not gonna judge. You know, I'd like to believe that Garrus, for someone who doesn't like all the red tape, Clive kinda trusts that he's he doesn't like to go through the red tape and all the right reasons.
As long as you do your job well, you're free to go about your business as you see fit.
Thank you, Commander.
You're very welcome, Garrus. Oh. And can I say anything else?
Commander, good to see you.
Alright. I will talk to you again later, Garrus. Oh, Ashley's down here. I didn't realize you were down here, Ashley.
Commander?
How are we doing?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got there sooner, Commander. No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
You wish we'd been able to save the rest of your unit.
Yeah.
If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
The Geth are perfect ambushers. They don't move, they don't make noise, they don't even breathe.
They have flashlight heads, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
That's nice. Can we talk freely then?
Do you have a few minutes to talk one-on-one?
I'm sorry, Commander. I need to get my duty squared away.
Oh.
I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
Oh, okay. Alright, well...
Dismissed, Chief.
Nice ship you've got, Shepard.
Thank you, sir.
What can I do for you?
Personal inquiry. Why does this sound like I'm an AI all of a sudden?
What's your story, Wrex?
There's no story.
Why not? Everybody has a story.
Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
You Krogan live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
Wrex.
I heard about that. You know, they almost did the same to us.
It's not the same.
It isn't?
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation?
Well...
An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth?
Yeah, that's a little different.
And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
I see your point, Wrex.
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
Sorry, I won't.
Sorry, Wrex. I wasn't trying to get you upset.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago.
You did? Your own people?
The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
Wow. I didn't expect him to say that. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected. Every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist?
I want a Krogan scientist. There has to be.
Ask a Krogan. Would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
Okay, I definitely want there to be a Krogan scientist. There needs to... Just because having a Krogan scientist would actually be interesting for a change. If I ever decide to move forward with Mass Effect Season 2 tabletop campaign, ooh, I would love to have a Krogan scientist, either PC or NPC. I think that would just be fascinating. So interesting. Okay.
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
I see.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
Now, the thing about the Krogan... The conversations with Wrex, I'm going to be very vague here. I'm not going to be too spoilerly. I'm trying to be very vague. The thing with the conversations with Wrex here in Mass Effect 1 reminds me of the conversations with Sten in Dragon Age Origins. If you don't know who Sten is in Dragon Age Origins, don't worry about it. But in that, Sten sort of paints this picture of what the Qunari are like, and he is the single main source for what Qunari culture is, which is his race. And Wrex is giving us, a similar account of how the Krogan generally are. Like, we're not warriors, we're not, we're fighters, we don't go around to settling lands. But when you play future games, you find out that the Krogan race isn't really that... They're a little bit... There's more to them than just that. You discover a lot that later on that Wrex's account of what Krogan are like doesn't tell the full story, and the same thing with Sten. Sten's account of what Qunari are like doesn't quite tell the full story either. You learned that in Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Inquisition. So I'm not sure if that's just because the writers started out with an idea of this is how the Krogan are and this is how the Qunari are, but then later on, as they added new games, they decided, well, you know what? Maybe there's more to these races than just that, and maybe, just to make the races more interesting, add more dimensions than the one dimension that we were presented with in our original games in Mass Effect 1 or Dragon Age Origins / Dragon Age 1. I don't know if I have a feeling the latter happened, and, you can again explain it that, you found out about these races from one person, really, or mainly one person, your squad mates, and therefore, you have to take what they say with a grain of salt, because you're getting an account from, basically, you end up getting some second opinions on it, and from other members of the same race. So that's what I find interesting, the parallelism with Wrex and Sten from Dragon Age. All right, Rexy.
So long, Wrex.
Shepard.
Wrex. All right, let's go down this way. Engineer Adams.
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian, Tali? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
Is she bothering you?
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do.
Wow.
She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for Tali, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Let's talk about some personal questions, Engineer Adams.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy.
Wow.
My last assignment was on the Tokyo. Only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
That's pretty cool. Tell me about the Normandy.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on. Probably the fastest vessel ever designed. And she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, but we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Tell me about our stealth system.
Fill me in on the IES stealth systems. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
Yeah. Well, to answer this question, we're not actually invisible. You can look out a window and still see the Normandy, but, for the way that most ships tend to censor, other ships, they track the heat. It's more about tracking the heat signatures more than it is tracking the visual stuff.
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day.
Exactly.
You have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space.
Exactly.
Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Why doesn't it work with faster-than-light travel?
Cranking up to FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare.
Right.
Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
Which is pretty darn amazeballs.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Thank you. Thank you.
Something I can do for you, Commander.
No.
Carry
just
on,
making
Adams.
sure I exhausted
Aye, aye.
everything in your dialogue wheel. This ship is a marvel. Element 0 core. So beautiful. Beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, hey there, Tali.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
The Normandy's a prototype. Cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space.
Well, thank you, Tali.
I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
Wow.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla, grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
That makes a lot of sense.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla.
Yeah, I know. Wow.
And each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
Like what?
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child.
Ah.
If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking.
That makes sense.
Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births. Though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
That is really all interesting. Very interesting stuff. I mean, I think there has been, historically there have been, limitations or at least incentives to either have more children or not have as much children, throughout the history of countries all around the world.
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials.
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction.